Hello and welcome to 4000 Counting. I'm Watty. This is Mark, and today we are joined by Manchester Storm defenseman, our boy, Mr. Zach Sullivan. Sully, Manchester Storm are doing well in the Elite League this year. It's nice to have you on when you're doing well.
Yeah, probably would have been better before our 3-3 in Scotland.
Yeah, before then would have been better.
We had probably the strangest game in Elite League history to play on Wednesday. Finna came in our room and basically said we can lose this game 200-2 and we still qualify. So
yeah, Challenge Cup, weird.
Yeah, it was. You know what? Like it was a great opportunity for Alex Oldell to go in, and I thought like he played absolutely outstanding. You know, that Sheffield team is one of the best Sheffield teams that I've played against. Probably one of the best Sheffield teams that you guys have watched.
My favourites for the league, sorry.
Yeah, I mean they're 4 lines deep. They're a very, very good hockey club, and Alex played very, very well. I think we played very well as a team as well. We had a bit of a talk in the practice before we pre-game skated and kind of said, it's a weird situation and it is what it is, but forget about 2 goals. If we win the game, we go through. And yeah, I mean, we got our 2 goals. I think we got our second quite early on in the second period, and it was nice to see the guys kind of relax and have fun on the ice, especially after the weekend. Bit of a weird weekend. We turned up an hour and a half late to Dundee because an accident on the M72, and then everyone went on the same side road. And then I thought we actually played really well against Fife, and we ran into Shane Owen.
How good is that guy, by the way?
Solid.
If he plays like that every game, and like that's why they sign him, right? They know that he wins them points every single season, and I think their coach even came out after and said he didn't like how they played and that we deserved to win the game, which fair play to him. And yeah, I mean, I think Nicky, from playing 3-3s, the third game was never easy, and
oh, no, it hurts.
We came into a Glasgow team that had got beat quite heavily the night before and kind of had a point to prove. So, but no, we were proud of I know we only came out with 1 point, but the Fife game was a good performance, even if we didn't get the result. And I think the fight back, especially with tired legs and tired bodies on the Sunday from 2 down against Glasgow, who are a good offensive team. Yeah, it's. I mean, I think the best thing for us was that our fans still had a great time when they were up there. They were still singing.
But they got after it.
I think they were singing 1 point weekend after the Glasgow game. So, but no, like the support we had, I think we broke the attendance record in Dundee, and that's in no small part.
Oh, was that with you guys? I think that was 2096, I believe. Something close to that.
Something like that.
Their top attendance. Shout out Dundee for that. Awesome work.
And,
yeah, nice.
That's no small part in our travelling fans, and they were loud all weekend and giving us support all weekend, and they very easily could have turned on us, especially after the first couple of games. But they're right behind us, and they're still right behind us. So they're still behind us to a point where they were told to stop chanting in Sheffield because they were too loud.
Oh, really?
So
no, in the arena, what, they're making too much noise for the home fans.
We were in Sheffield for the first time.
Oh, it was Sheffield.
Yeah,
Sheffield. Well, that place is used to fucking no noise at all. So,
but no, it was a nice change of speed, kind of, to play in the Wednesday game, and we actually played really well. I thought we kind of dominated the play for 2 periods, which is no mean feat against that Sheffield team. So yeah, I mean, we got a great group of guys, and we're quite tight together, and I think that kind of shows and how we're playing. I mean, got some pretty damn good players this year too. So
yeah, I was really impressed when I saw you boys down at Cardiff. I don't know names. I can't fucking remember the names. Number 9. And also back guy 27 D-man.
CJ Garcia, yeah.
Fucking stud, by the way. I like him. I really like him. I have him on my team all day long. You got a few guys on your roster this year that they're my kind of players. They got fucking the old no spit, no lube, sandpaper finish, but with a bit of skill, do the little things well. Like Cardiff went in that fucking hockey game. I didn't think.
Yeah, I mean,
you lost, but like if I was watching that game, I think I said to the boys, I was like, Cardiff weren't really in the game, and Manchester were the better team.
Yeah, I mean, we won't talk about the penalty that was called in overtime.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of our identity. I was talking to Cam Critchlow a few weeks ago about it, and I was saying like we have a lot more like kind of old school hockey players that, you know, we got a bump or a bruise, it's okay, like yeah, fine, I can still play, like my leg's still attached, my arm's still attached, yeah, it hurts,
yeah,
but
let's go. It's just another game.
Yeah, and it's, you know, everyone's, I think, you know, and Mikey Moore have said it quite a few times this season, like we're all pulling the rope in the same direction. No one has this desire to be the hero every game. We're just like, we've got, I mean, Andrew
Blue chip
Hare,
guys kind of.
yeah, Andrew Hare is an incredible player. I mean, played Norwegian top league for the last however many years, and you know, I think he's our top point scorer at the moment. But if we win the game or achieve our goal like we did on Wednesday, and he doesn't have a point, he doesn't care, because the team's done their job. So it's kind of refreshing to kind of have that. I think that's more of a new era kind of thing that's creeping into hockey, that it's becoming a bit more like, I want my points, and as long as I get my points, I'm happy. And I think we kind of fell into that a little bit last year. And
yeah, Sully, he's leading the team.
Yeah, and he's like, you guys just see him in games, like you should see him in practice. It's a
just
bit
breaking your ankles on the regular, yeah.
Yeah, very much. But then you got guys who go under the radar, you know, like Johnny Corneal is playing really well for us, in my opinion, and obviously we've got an extra import forward and an extra import D at the moment, and whoever comes in and plays seems to do a good job, and there's no kind of.
What's that like in Manchester? That must be a luxury that you're not used to, being at the store, having an extra import. Fucking hell. Check you boys out.
Doesn't make a difference to me. I still play.
It doesn't make any difference to you, but like, just nice just to have that extra body. You know, guys start getting hurt.
It is. And
you're carrying a knock, someone else is carrying a knock. It's just nice to have that depth.
Yeah, it gives guys a chance to, you know, like you said, like if you get a knock, it gives you the chance to kind of go, okay, like I can take an extra day rather than going into a game with this. And you know, it's not like our extra guys aren't capable of playing in the league either. You know, we've got some good depth, and I mean, Winnie is Evan Winninger. I think I pumped his tires a little bit too much last time I was on commentary. He's just incredible. Like, he gives us a chance to win every game. I know he let in a goal he was disappointed with in Glasgow in overtime, but as I said to him on the ice after the game, it's like the only reason we were even in overtime because of him. You know, and he's kind
legit, by the way, Sully.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's incredible.
Legit.
He's definitely up there with one of the top goalies I've ever played with, and yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like every game he makes a highlight reel save, and that's not to mean that we're giving up grade A's every game, but it's, you know, it's nice to know that one time that you do break down as a team, he's there to pull off a save that most goalies wouldn't be able to. But no, he's a great guy, great goalie, and
literally above 900 his whole career, other than one season in college where in 31 games he was at 899. So I mean, we're splitting bull hairs here. Like, other than that, the guy has literally been above 900 since he was the last time he wasn't 900 and above, he was 17 years old playing fucking like midget AAA. Like, this guy's money.
Yeah, he he knew Chase Harrison through they were online Fortnite buddies.
Oh, what? Come on.
So they
No
were
way.
online Fortnite buddies, and then Stephen Johnson knew Winnie as well. So he was in the works to bring him in when we brought in Brodeur last year. And obviously with Broads going and getting his, I think he was at NHL camp with the Devils this year. So obviously he's not coming back to the IHL when he's got a chance for NHL camp. So yeah, when Broads kind of said he was going to give it another go, and I think the stars kind of just aligned for Winnie to come over. And I mean, he's
very good
so far this season, and it was against Sheffield at home, and I think I said at the end of the game, like, the top 5 saves of the week could just be Winnie in this game. You know, backdoor saves, like windmill glove saves, like just like scrambling saves. Like he's not a goalie that is like his technique's really good. Like he makes the easy save every single time, but then he's also like he's really capable of, if it's like a goal mouth scramble, like he can spin across. Like he scrambles well. Like
just doesn't give up on the play, right?
Yeah, there's not really a weakness, and I think if you look at some of the goals that he's let in as well, like even in that Sheffield game, like one of the weirdest goals I've seen is a 2-on-2 rush. The Sheffield player shoots it, and it somehow tips off the other Sheffield player's stick, who stood a foot in front of him.
Just a little ricochet.
Yeah, like how often have you seen that? Like even like the second goal in Glasgow, he said to me he was coming at his chest, hit the D-man's pants and went over his shoulder. So like the goals he's letting in, they're kind of like, yeah, like NHL goalies are going to let them in. Like
just bounces.
Puck changes direction at the last second. There's not really much you can do. So, I mean, we had one against Belfast where it bounced off like end boards and out the other side for a guy stood back door with an empty net. So it's, yeah, I mean,
what are you going to do in that situation? There's literally
exactly
shit happens.
But he also gives, like, especially D-men, like, talking from my point of view, like, I know if someone's coming in wide and they want to take a shot, I'm there like, yeah, go on then.
You crack on.
And so it's kind of, it relaxes you, and you know, like, obviously you played, like, confidence comes from the back out. If your goalie's having a bad day, you're not going to win the game.
I know as a forward against a goalie like that, if I'm skating down, let's say my off wing, because that's probably a favoured shot for me. Let's say I'm skating down the right wing and you're pretty much just giving me the lane for that shot. I'm expecting to beat that guy 1-20. From out there, I'm kind of hoping for 1-20. Most realistic play I'm making in that situation, I'm gonna hope I've got a guy driving the net, and I'm just gonna shoot for the back pad and hope he kicks it into the slot. This motherfucker's not kicking it into the slot though. He doesn't do that. He just doesn't kick pucks into the high slot like that.
I mean, like I said, like every aspect of his game is just incredible, really. Like his rebound control, his scrambling, his angles, and it gives you the confidence to go into every game knowing that you have a chance. You know, even if you know your top guys aren't at the races for whatever reason, like the puck's not bouncing your way, whatever reason that you want to give that you're not playing your best, like you've still got a goalie that you know is going to stand on his head because he does it every night. So, I mean, and then like look at the D that I think our D have improved massively from last season. I mean, I think everyone.
How was it having Joe Morrow in there? I mean, I know a lot of fans across the league were eyes on him when he joined. What's it like having him in the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was kind of a lot of negativity surrounding him. I saw quite a few comments of like, "Oh, why is he joining the Manchester Storm?" My response to that was, "Well, why not?"
Manchester's spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. He was waiting for a kind of KHL deal. Never really came, and then the offer that came, he didn't want to play in that city. So you're talking about a guy who's still getting contract offers from some of the best leagues in the world. No, he basically, his agent got in touch, from what I believe, got in touch with the club and kind of said, you know, this is Joe had always wanted to kind of come to the UK, and Manchester was one of the spots where he'd always wanted to come. And obviously, Old Trafford, Manchester City, Manchester United are big draws when you talk about guys winding down their careers, like wanting to visit the world. And I think he's been to more games this season than I have been in my whole life.
Is he all up in the footy? Yeah.
Oh yeah, but absolutely, why not? Like, it's
too right.
I think fans sometimes forget that we're human too. As long as we're going on the ice and performing well, we want to go watch a football match at Old Trafford. Like, well, yeah, why not?
That's dream stuff for an for an Edmonton boy out in the prairies.
Like I think there was a lot of kind of whispers about like what his attitude would be like. He's like probably one of the most legit NHLers that we've had come over here. And, guys were kind of saying, "Oh, like he's just going to be here for a free ride," but no, like you said,
162 games over 5 seasons.
Yeah, like he cares. He cares just as much as the rest of us, and he's just an upstand. Like he's just a great guy. Like I think my first point of the season, I looked him off for a one-timer and shot myself, and Stephen Johnson put in the rebound, and I got back to the bench with him. I was like, "Sorry, mate, I looked you off." He was like, "Nope, shoot every time. You can look me off if we're going to score." And I'm like, okay, like, and like I've played with guys who have played top leagues before, and that would be a no. Like I'm open for one time, I give it to me. But no, he's like the rest of us. Like team comes first, and I was saying to Mark earlier when you would get the drink, Nick, that when we played Sheffield, a player who should go unnamed was kind of like, "Oh, our careers, how have we ended up here?" And Joe kind of turned around and was like, "I'm enjoying myself. I'm loving it here." Yeah. And that kind of sums us up as a team, really. We've heard it all before, right? We're the luckiest people in the world. Get it's game and get paid for it. We don't have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go and work a 9 to 5. So
that's what I've learned more from this road tripping stuff that I've been doing, because obviously I've been to like Oxford, NIHL 1. You talk to their fans, and then I was in Aberdeen, a completely new market to me, but you talk to their fans, all the way up to like me and Mark being in Brno, standing in the fan section. And last weekend just gone, stood with in the fan curve with the Berlin fans. It gives you like a total different aspect for us, because we're normally just on there and you don't really see what goes on off the ice and what it means. And I think for the clubs, if the fans could see the players being more like, "Yo, let's go to Old Trafford. Let's go play this golf course," because like you say, they're just guys. There's that massive respect factor I found in Europe, and I think we get more respect for our players if they kind of, on the social medias, they showed more of this side of the guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, you see teams every year kind of, I'm sure you guys picked a team this summer that went, "Oh, that team's going to be incredible," and that for whatever reason they haven't been. And I think one of the hardest things in any sport is recruiting personalities. You can have the best 20 players in each position, but that doesn't guarantee that they're going to play well together. It's you've got to make sure that guys get on the ice. I mean, the teams that I played with, and especially in the EPL that won things, we were inseparable off the ice. You would have had to take us away in handcuffs to stop us from hanging out together. And looking through those EPL rosters, I'm sure on occasion that may have happened. Yeah, I mean, one handcuffs, but we
you played on a team with my brother and Greener and enough other guys there that could have very well been the case.
Well, I mean, my first year in Glasgow, and I think we finished second by a point, and it all came down to an away game in Edinburgh where we outshot Edinburgh 65-14 and lost 2-1. Not that I'm still bitter about that.
I was going to say, not that you're bitter at all about that one.
We used to spend our Monday nights. we used to go around one of the boys' houses. We used to put on old replays of WWE Royal Rumble on YouTube. We'd take it. We'd have a sweepstake for numbers. So we'd put a pound in. We'd take the numbers out, and like it would, like it was like a
that's your guy, yeah.
Like your guy went out, and you lost your mind. That's like every Monday night, and it started off with like 2 or 3 of us, and then by like week 3, like the whole team's in this one little apartment, like watching WWE Royal Rumble from 1994.
I love that.
And we're like you're like, you know what it is, you know what it's like when you start like kind of betting and having games between the boys. Like it doesn't matter what you do, you're competitive.
It's just competitive, yeah. It doesn't really matter.
Guys are throwing chairs when their guy gets eliminated, and
it's literally that old thing, like who can piss up the fence the highest. It really it doesn't matter what it is. If there's 2 guys pissing on the fence, it's like who can piss the highest.
Yeah, and it's like, but that's, I think if you look at any championship winning team, like they're inseparable off that. So I mean, look at the Vegas Golden Knights last year.
Always having fun, eh?
Yeah, I mean, like I know usually when you win the cup, they all have their day with the cup. I think their entire team was in every single guy's day with the cup.
Yeah,
because they didn't want to leave each other. They wanted to spend time with each other, even after an 82 game season plus playoffs.
What, 28 potential playoff games? That's a long season.
When the Blues won the Stanley Cup, when they were bottom of the league at Christmas, you know, like imagine what that team's gone through to go from bottom of the league to Stanley Cup winners. Like again, like
I mean, it probably helps when you got Craig Berube shouting at you at fucking 8 a.m. at practice.
Yeah, but
yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Then again, like some of my favorite memories, like especially from Glasgow, like we had John Tripp, who was a drill sergeant in every single sense of the word. You know, we would go, we'd practice 4 times a week, every week, whether we were playing or not. So we could have a Wednesday game, we would pre-game skate, and then we'd skate Thursday, 10 a.m. And whether we have
post games fucking skate.
Yeah, so when we had a couple of weeks where we played Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's 7 games in 10 days, right? We're in the gym on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on the ice at 10. In the gym at 8 a.m. on a Wednesday. We're playing that day. Pre-game skate, play at 7. On the ice, in the gym on Thursday, train on Thursday, gym Friday, yoga Friday, train Friday, 2 games over the weekend, and then do it all again the next week.
Yeah.
But then because he's such a drill sergeant, like I honestly don't know how that's when I played with Josh Greason, my best friend, and Peaks was living across the road. Craig Peacock was living across the road from me. I don't know how we managed to do it, but we went out every single opportunity we had.
It's just nonstop.
And it wasn't just the 3 of us, you know, it's half the team, because it's like, well, if we're working this hard when we're working,
bagged every day,
we're gonna have some fun too. And you know, like when you're working that hard, you know you can go and have the fun, because it's like, well, we're in the gym at 8 a.m. I'm gonna work it off. We can stay out till 1 a.m. because, you know, we're gonna be working tomorrow. And you know, some of the funniest non-PC stories probably came from that season, where it was almost like, well, if you're going to make us work hard, we're going to party twice as hard. And it was like when you have a coach that's screaming, like shoving it down your throat every day and screaming at you every morning in practice, it's kind of like, well, all right, we'll work for you, but then we're going to go have our fun after. And that brings you together as a team. Obviously, we didn't do very well that year, but
you were there long enough. I mean, I know because it's my neck of the woods, but talk our fans through a good night out in Glasgow.
Well, you got to remember that we didn't actually live in Glasgow. So
because you boys were a little bit out, weren't you?
So the Glasgow clan play out of Braehead Arena.
In Renfrew.
Yeah. So we would go to, obviously, like after games and stuff, you stay in the room for a bit. You win or what's the phrase? Win or lose?
Hit the booze, baby.
You go. And and we did a bit too much losing that year, to be honest. But yeah, like you stay there, have a few drinks, and then we used to walk over to the Spoons, Lord of the Isles, over at the
like a fucking car, like an industrial estate car park thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not a bad Spoons though.
Well, what we actually did that year, Josh was at uni doing his law degree, so he's a lawyer now. That's why he stopped playing. So he had a flat.
Smart guy.
He had a flat in Merchant Square in the city. So if you know Glasgow,
not a bad spot if you don't know.
There's a good nightlife in Merchant City, and then it's about a 5-minute walk to downtown Glasgow where the nightclub strip is. So we used to actually, we'd have, you can't drink drive in Scotland whatsoever. Like one beer puts you over.
Yeah. So
we'd jump in the cars, go straight to Josh's, change and pre-drink at his, and then like head out into town. So if our game finished at 9:30, we'd be at his flat by 10.
Zip off.
In
the shower.
You'd have like Tripper would come in that season. Tripper would come in and scream at us because we lost again. Literally jump in the shower, put your suit on, go to Josh's, and then we'd head into town. There was a Celtic bar that we used to go to because they had live music.
Sounds like a great time for me to go for a piss.
Can't remember what it was, but our physio was a Celtic fan. That's why we always used to go there. And then we'd head to. I was a bit younger back then, before I sound like a creep or anything like that. I was 5-6 years younger back then, so and Josh is 2-3 years younger than me, so we'd head out to the uni spots. So there's Garage, Kokomo, and the other place, which I can never remember. But they're all like right next to each other, and we'd literally just go in and find whichever one was the quietest. Go in because there's 20 of us. Like, they're not going to let 20 of us into a packed out nightclub. And then we managed to actually start talking. We talked to one of the bouncers after a night out, and he was a Glasgow Clan fan. So he was literally he was like, "Oh, give me your number." So I was just saying, we spoke to one of the bouncers after a night out at one of the kind of uni spots, and he was a Clan fan. So he was like, "Oh, give me your number, and I'll let you know which door I'm working. And like, just turn up, I'll let you in. Like, doesn't matter if it's 5 of you, 20 of you, or just a couple of you. Like, I'll just let you in." Like, so so it used to develop. Like, we'd get to Josh's at about 10. Someone would message the bouncer, be like, "Oh, what door are you working tonight?" And be like, "Oh, I'm at Garage tonight, or I'm at Kokomo, or I'm here, I'm there, wherever it is." And we're like, "All right, like, we'll be there in 15 minutes." Jump in the Ubers, get out of the Uber. And if you've been to Glasgow, there aren't any nights off.
No.
Like, nightlife in Glasgow is Monday to Sunday. Like, it is non-stop.
There's somewhere to go every night.
Yeah, there's 3 universities in Glasgow. So the unis take turns on which.
So the ratios are good.
Yeah, the unis take turns on which nights they go out. So I think it's Glasgow Uni on a Tuesday, Caledonian West on a Wednesday, and then Strathclyde on a Thursday. And then obviously Friday, Saturday, Sunday, everyone goes out. And then I think it's Strathclyde again on a Monday. So every night was a student night, or it was the weekend. So there's always queues like round the block. You're talking like 50, 60 people waiting to get into these clubs. And we'd get there, roll out of the Uber, go up to the bouncer and be like, "Oh, hey mate, how are you doing?" And 20 of us would just be like,
just straight in.
Yeah, literally straight in the front door. It's like, "Yeah, on you go." And then like, so that was basically we went out when I can't remember which rapper it was, but there was a rapper did a show at the SSE Hydro, and it was like rumored that he was going to do an after party at one of these clubs, and the bouncer was working the club that he was rumored going to. We got in there, it's rammed, like, and we're getting back from away games from like Dundee, Edinburgh, Fife at like midnight, turning up at like midnight, knowing that everywhere shuts in Glasgow at 2. Everywhere. So you've got until 2 to have a good time.
Go hard, just for an hour and a half.
we walked into Garage the one time, and this nightclub is huge. I don't know if have you been to Piccadilly Institute in London?
I've been outside the garage in Glasgow. Never actually been in, but
yeah. So it's like full, like 3 floors.
Yeah.
Every floor's got like different kinds of music. So Garage is you go up the stairs. You have the first floor, and you have upstairs, which is their main area, and then there's a basement as well. And all 3 floors like rammed with people, like you're shoulder to shoulder with people, because this rapper is like rumored to be coming. And we kind of stood there in the middle of like the entryway, and we're like, we are nowhere near drunk enough. The Garage do these drinks. Now, I would not recommend doing this, but Garage do these drinks called the Zombie.
Love a zombie.
Yeah, it is a pint of spirits, just whatever spirits they have left over from the week. They pour into this thing. It's bright orange. This drink is bright orange or bright blue, whatever color it is from the whatever. So it was a 4-drink limit. You could only order 4 drinks at the bar each. So we had 20 of us turn up at this club at 12:30. So we're all like spread ourselves out along this along the bar. So we're all queuing up. We all order 4 zombies each. So between the team, we now have 80 pints of zombies. And yeah, I think there was about 3 of us that didn't go home without puking that night. Yeah, we bullied the people off the beer pong table. I mean, we drank 4 zombies in about half.
Everyone's fucking ready to go after 4 zombies.
Nobody was stopping us from playing beer pong after that, and we just sat on the beer pong table being idiots, basically. But then if anything happened, like if anything was started with us, because the bouncer knew us, without even asking, he wouldn't even try and find out what happened. He'd just take the other guy out. So after 2-3 nights of like people seeing this, it's like, okay, like don't, like there's no point going to them because you're just gonna get thrown out. Peaks won't like me for telling this story, but Peaks got decked. I think it was me, him, Josh, and our physio left at the end of the night. And we're minding our own business, dancing on dance floor, being idiots. And out of nowhere, this guy just comes up behind him and like, if we were playing hockey, like he got slew-footed. And slew-footed.
No shit! What on the dance floor?
Yeah, on the dance floor. Like the way Peaks retells it is 1 minute he's dancing, looking at me and Andy, our physio, and then next he's looking up at the lights. So Peaks gets up.
Got a conky, like, what's going on?
Peaks is furious. Peaks is like, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. This guy is literally being carried out horizontal by 4 bouncers. Literally like 4 bouncers, 2 arms, 2 like a cardboard, like piece of cardboard. He's being carried out by the bouncers, and Peaks is trying to go after him. And no bouncer's like, no, we got rid of him. It's fine. So I think I spent about 15-20 minutes just calming him down, being like, dude, like don't let it ruin our night. Like we're having a good time. Like let's just stay here till it closes. Go get some food. Go home. And he's like, yeah, fine. Like yeah, I'll stay. So we stay until it closes about 2 p.m. And we're at each spot. Like I'm sure you guys are the same. Like when you go out regularly enough, you have like a food spot to go to after.
Yep.
So we know that our food spot in Garage is 2 doors down. Like you come out, turn right, 2 doors down. So we leave Garage at 2 a.m. We go to get our food. And I shit you not, the guy picking up his food is the guy that slew-footed Peaks in the club. You couldn't write it any better if you were a movie writer. We walked out this club at 2 a.m. like an hour and a half after he's been decked in the club, and this guy is stood there getting his like cheesy chips or whatever, and I'm like, Peaks, no, like don't
do it.
And before I've even like said his name, he's in the food place, and he hasn't said anything. He's just gone in. This guy's obviously looking like that way. Peaks has come in, stood here, put his arm on the counter, and he's just looking at him like this. And the guy finally turns around, and you see him just go. He's like, "You all right, mate?" Want to come outside? He takes them outside. You're in Glasgow. Like you're not gonna have a night out in Glasgow without seeing policemen. Like there are police officers everywhere in Glasgow.
Standard, yeah.
So Pete's is like asked this guy to come outside to, I assume, have a fight. Like, so they're like kind of like squaring, like he's giving his food to his mate so he doesn't drop it. Like everyone's kind of like me, and then like
make sure you don't spill my fucking dollar.
Yeah, literally. Just see these 4 police officers start running from like the other end of the street down to where we are, and I'm like, Peaks, we need to go. He's like, no. Nope. And if you've been out with Peaks, when Peaks is drunk, he does what he wants. So I'm talking to a brick wall at this point, and he's stood there, and he literally he has a different voice when he's decided
his drunk voice.
Yeah, when he's decided what he wants to do, he's literally no, I'm doing it, no, I'm doing it. So I'm like, okay, like there are 4 police officers running to arrest you right now. So this one police lady's got him like up against the wall, like face against the glass of this food shop that he's just come out of. 2 other police officers have like the other guy. And Peaks is stood in the middle of Glasgow. He's like, arrest me! Arrest me! I don't care, arrest me! And I'm like, Peaks, we need to go. Like, we'll go get food somewhere else. And eventually, like, police officers like, you need to make sure he doesn't come back here. So we ended up going and getting food elsewhere, but it was just like that's a pretty standard night out in Glasgow.
Well, you didn't get stabbed, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, and it wasn't.
You've got to be careful at who you're squaring up with outside kebab shops in Glasgow.
That's kind of like the classic night out, especially as hockey players, and especially the teams that we had in Glasgow. It was kind of, like I said earlier, like old school hockey players that go out and you're not.
I got a hard question for you then, Sully. Hard question.
Go on.
It was out of obviously not all your boys. Obviously, we know Greaveson and Peaks and that they're your actual boys. But out of the imports that came over, who was the kind of guy that you thought was like the biggest beauty, who bought into like coming out for beers with the boys, but then turning up and doing a job at the rink? Just kind of,
not a hard question at all. Scott Arson.
Okay. Just one of the boys, eh?
Scott Arson he drank like it was water, and there'd be a point nobody could tell when it was because he drank so quick. But there was a point where he went blackout, and this is every night. Like we could go to the pub, we could go to Bavaria into Brayhead. There'd be a point where he's blackout, and you couldn't tell whether it was like 5 drinks, 10 drinks, 15 drinks. Like he would have 15, 20 beers a night. He's absolutely shredded, like shredded. He would get blackout drunk, end up getting home somehow at like 6 a.m. We got practice at 10. He'd get home at 6 a.m., turn up the next morning, best player on the ice. Like he hadn't drunk alcohol the night before. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like a one-time thing. It was every single time. I mean, like I've said before on a podcast that he's probably my favorite ever D-man, D partner to play with. And I think over 3 years playing with him, I think we played a grand total of about 5 shifts together. But yeah, I mean, I still do crossbar challenge at the end of warm up because we used to do it in Glasgow together. But yeah, he could.
Where are you shooting for crossbar challenge?
Blue line. It's much easier in Manchester than it is anywhere else.
Yeah, no shit, because you fucking could touch the crossbar from the blue line.
Drink like a fish and just turn up like nothing had happened the night before. There was one. We went out a Halloween party my first year in Glasgow, and anyone that's been to Into Brayhead, they got the ski slope, indoor ski slope. So we're in Bavaria, which is the bar like right at the back. When I was there, they were always kind of like, even if they weren't a sponsor, they were a sponsor. The owner loved us.
Like a Greg Chambers sponsor.
Yeah, like he absolutely loved us. Like we'd have our diaper parties there, Christmas party would start there, Super Bowl would be there. Like they'd bring us in the back doors and let us in. And so we ended up I think we went down at like 11:30 midnight to Bavaria. And we got Finner got an email the next morning. So we practiced the next morning or the morning after. And we have like you have like a meeting to go through practice, or like you're watching video on the team for the weekend. And Finner, he's got his laptop to show us the video, and he pulls up his email, and it's an email from Into Brayhead, and it's basically like, we've had complaints about guys running up and down the ski slope at 2 a.m. in the morning, jumping over the ski jumps, because there's like 2 or 3 ski jumps, jumping over the ski jumps, not using the chairlift on the side, just sprinting up and down this ski slope. And it's got the attached like, CCTV, so it's just been sent to us. They know it's us. Like Into Play knew it was us, so they've got the attached email. And all it is RC sprinting up and down this piece for like 15 minutes, just sprinting up and down. Like he must have been absolutely.
Was he on the vodka Red Bulls that night or what?
I had no idea, but that was like who he was. Like he could be, like, he was really, really quiet. Like he was like a quiet leader. Like he wouldn't really say much. Like if you knew him, like you could get quite a bit out of him, and you could have a laugh and a joke with him.
What, until Frank the Tank turned up?
Oh, Frank the Tank was there with him. Like he was the one that used to encourage him. But yeah, like if you knew him, like you could get quite a lot out of him. But if not, like he just kept himself to himself. But then you put a few drinks in him, and he was just like completely different person. He'd just go insane. And then he'd come in the next day, he'd be like, "Boys, what did I do last night?" But like,
that's never good. That anxiety from breakfast till getting to training.
He's not hungover. He's not got a headache. He's not looking groggy. Like he's absolutely fine. It's just like, what did I do last night? I don't know what I did last night. So that was pretty funny, because probably the most surprised guy watching RC run up and down the ski slope was RC.
RC. Yeah, just like
I did that. Wow,
like,
okay.
I'm moving pretty good up that fucking slope there. Look at those glutes. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at those fucking glutes going up that hill. I mean,
when I was in Glasgow with Finner, like I remember my Finner's last year there before we went to Manchester. We actually had a team meeting about halfway through November, and Finner sat us down and asked us why we weren't going out.
Yeah, what the fuck's wrong with you guys?
Yeah,
one of the best cities on the planet.
What's happening?
That was the conversation.
He's like, you live in one of the best cities on the planet. What are you fucking doing right now?
I think we'd lost 4 or 5 in a row, or lost like 5 out of 7 or something like that. We hadn't been playing too great, and yeah, Finner basically sat us down and it's like, when was the last time you guys went out as a team? So we had a team mandated Tuesday night out from then on. Everyone had to go out on a Tuesday night, and we ended up we kind of started like a bowling league between us. I don't know if you've done that on a team before. So there's a bowling alley into Greyhead. So we went. You have like the team events where you go bowling with the fans. So we all like recorded our scores off that. It was Rosie that actually did this, Jay Rosehill. Rosie recorded all our scores and put us into 4 teams.
And by the way, if he tells you to have your scores in by fucking Monday at 12, you have your scores in by Monday at 12. Yeah, like there's no guys that going, hey Rosie, I'll send you those scores over at 6 p.m. tonight. Like, no.
So bear in mind, the first time we met Rosie as a team, a couple guys had played against him, knew him a little bit. But the first time we actually met him, he landed on the Friday. We played Belfast at home on the Friday.
He lost his jibs.
Yeah, he took a slap shot through the face. No tip, no nothing. Like straight one timer to the face. Lost all his teeth here, broke his bone here, broke his orbital bone, and he's like his jersey's like he doesn't even like go one knee down on the ice. He just rips his helmet off and launches it. Pavel gave him a 2-minute misconduct for illegal equipment, which was
Of course he did.
the guy's got blood streaming.
Scottish
down.
referee
What the
101 right
fuck?
there. Scottish referee 101. That's why Scott Conway's in fucking Slovakia right now.
And then so we're like we lost the game, preseason game. So we're in the room, and this guy like has half a face. There's no other way to put it. He's got half a face. Half his face is hanging off, and this side's fine. So we know he's our tough guy. We know we've signed him as our tough guy. We know he's absolutely nails, and he's dripping blood in the dressing room. So we all come in, and we're like everyone's terrified to say a word. Like nobody wants to say anything about anything. Nobody wants to talk about the game. Nobody wants to talk about how we played. Like nothing. So we're all sat in there like quiet.
Guys looking at skate bases.
Oh, we're quiet as much. Like you could have heard penny drop. And then Rosie like stands up. He's like, "Don't be quiet on my account, boys. Like I'll be fine. Like carry on." Like, and then again, like it's the first time we've met him, so everyone's like, "I'm not being the first guy to say something." Like no chance. I'm sat next to him in the room. Like literally, I'm sat there. He's got like 4 medics stood around him, like trying to get him into an ambulance to go to hospital. And then he just gets up, like gets his helmet again, like launches it into his store, like screams at the top of his voice. And I think that was probably the quickest we were out of the dressing room as a team. I think we were in and out in about 5 minutes. Yeah, it was literally ninja dust everywhere. So that was on the Sunday, and then we played Dundee on the Friday, first league Challenge Cup game or league game. He put a cage on and played. And we're looking at him like, dude, like you can't play. And he's like, no, I'm fine. I'll just put a cage on. And it's like, no, we get that, but you can't play. Like if you play this game, you realize that none of us are ever allowed a day off this season.
Yeah, you're like fucking killing us, guy.
You've got half a face, and you're putting a cage on and wearing and playing. Like none of us are allowed to be injured from now.
Yeah, like, just like take a day off, bud.
He was like, no, I'm playing. And I think he tried to fight Farina that night too. Obviously,
was you because he went down to Manchester eventually, didn't he? Was you with him in Manchester as well?
No, so.
Fuck playing against that guy in that barn. Fuck that
team. That team was insane.
That was a tough team. Yeah. Byers.
Backer, Byers, Springer's first year. Daly was still fighting. Rosie.
And Springer was fighting everybody.
Yeah, so you had 5 tough guys.
I'm gonna get a drink, boys. Keep going.
It was
that was a fun team to watch.
Did you ever watch the Cardiff teams at Big Blue Tent?
Yeah.
Yeah, Finna.
Same vibe.
Yeah, Finna came down to Manchester and literally signed a Big Blue Tent team. So you had Byers, Backer, Rosie, Daly, and Springs. And then they had Barnes as well. And they had Kieran Long, who might not be, definitely aren't the same caliber of Rosie, but still fight.
No, but they're still not afraid, yeah.
And they would go out, knowing they were the toughest team, probably in world ice hockey at the time. They would go out and bully you. And most teams have one guy who can fight. So that guy would step up and fight one of their 5, 6, 7 tough guys. And then for the next 5 minutes, the other guys would run around like idiots. And there's nothing you could do. You'd literally, like, you see Byers or Backer or Rosie come in. Unfortunately, I played with Rosie. I got on with him really well. But you see one of those guys come in and you're like, oh my God, you're terrified. You're like, this is going to hurt. Like they are coming full steam ahead to put me through the glass. Like I went D to D. I was playing against him in Glasgow. I went D to D to my D partner, Bert Cameron. Great player, by the way. And he's got quite a lot of time, but Backer is full steam ahead of him. Bertie makes the play up the wall and kind of jumps out of the way, and it's a good job he jumped out of the way. Backer broke the boards. That's how hard he went for the hit. He broke the boards. We had a 5-minute delay in the game because Backer had tried to put my D partner so far through the glass that he broke the boards in Glasgow. And then you look at that team, and like we had Doty that year, who like
he's fucking speed
doing a
bagging
great
guys
job
in the A right now.
Yeah, like
this preseason fight in the NHL was outstanding, by the way. Outstanding.
He's a great player too, and like so Dotes, I think, for Springer, and then you had Backer, Bizey, Rosie, Dow, Barnes, and Kieran Long running around like idiots because we had no one else that could fight. It was you literally like you almost didn't want your tough guy to fight one of them because then at least they would have some kind of restraint of going around and doing what they wanted. Because at least if your tough guy isn't in the box for 5 minutes, they're like, oh, like he might come and fight me. But as soon as your tough guy had a fight that year, and it wasn't just us, like everyone was saying it, as soon as your tough guy had a fight, it was a free-for-all for. And then it wasn't just the fact that they were tough. Like they had, I can never remember that goalie that year, but he was like lights out.
Oh, he was really good.
Clemente.
Was it Clement?
Yeah, it was
Clement.
Yeah, and then you had guys like Moffat, Scott Pitt, Matt Becker.
Oh yeah.
Who while you're trying to match their craziness, are putting the puck in the net 6 times. And it was just like, I think for, in my opinion, like I know Belfast last year were incredible, but as far as recruiting a team that, you know, we talked about earlier, like the personalities, the buy-in, and the all-round like team mentality, that's probably one of the best teams that's ever been recruited in this league. Like it was absolutely lights out. Like I could probably tell you every single player from that team if you gave me 5 minutes. And it was just, I mean, Kieran Long was top British goal scorer. Scott Pitt and Matt Becker were top 5 in points. Andrew Moffat.
Springers was a stick joke that year.
Yeah, Mike
64 points or something.
Mike Hammond and Moffat were on a line. Scott Pitt and Becker were on a line, and they both had Byers or Backer, so nobody would touch them because then you'd have to deal with Backer or Bizey. And then I mean the D at the back, Poulin, Dallas, Barnes, Springer, Stanish, who came up to Glasgow the year after. Like, they were just insane, and it wasn't just the quality of the team, it was just the way that they went to war for each other. And I think that's kind of, we've got more of that this year than last year. Like I know there's been a few times where something's kind of happened on the ice and it's like it's kind of been like, oh, you're lucky that guy was closest to you because, you know, Uli's 5 foot behind him or Murph's 5 foot behind him, and you managed to get our skill guy who plays on that line as well.
Do you miss the tough guy, Sully?
Yes and no. I miss playing with them. You know, like
I don't miss playing against them.
Yeah.
Well, you'll 100% agree with me. Like the tough guys are always the best guys in the room.
Always.
I mean, Rosie was like we used to have competitions in Glasgow, and this is hilarious because he now runs I think he runs the Maple Leafs podcast. And he's always very serious and very like, he makes some brilliant points as well. But we used to have bets before. We used to like bet each other before practice who could make him go crazy. So we'd basically like, if Rosie had the puck, we'd send like, if you do like 5-on-5 in practice. If Rosie had the puck, we'd send 2 guys on him. So we turned it.
Everyone's going hard.
Yeah, everyone's going hard at Rosie, and then someone else has the puck. It's like, whatever. Which would annoy him more because it's like, why are you coming hard at me? Like, why aren't you going hard at him? So, because it's you, Rosie.
You've been in the show, bud. Suck it up.
And then we used to play 2-puck for coffee boys. So a few of the boys that drank coffee would just stay on, and you basically have 2 pucks, and whoever loses has to make coffee for everyone. And we had a few puck throws from Rosie.
Here
Um,
comes the punish roll.
he lost Juice Boy one week. Launched his stick all the way up to the very back of the stands. And then while we're like still on the ice stretching, you see him like crawling on his hands and knees all the way to come back. But then you knew like that level of crazy, like that level of anger. Like Rose, I remember being off the ice. We both missed the same practice, and we were going through his fight card.
Oh, it's a joke.
And I was talking to him about it, and like
an
just
actual joke.
kind of like seeing what like, because some guys like love fighting, some guys hate it. Rosie
I was on a love, by the way. If you just got into that clip later and thought you might have saw my hand up for the hate,
but Rosie absolutely hated it. If he fought, like a switch went. Like when he fought,
he wish he was better at hockey then, because that was his ticket to the fucking NHL. And he did a great job at it.
Really? Yeah, and the fact he was a lefty as well, like caught a lot of people off guard. But when he went toe to toe with McGrattan,
unbelievable tilt.
I think it. Yeah.
You could hear the punches. You could.
I remember being on the ice for it.
But it was like boom.
Oh, they stood there.
Punch.
That was a proper fight.
And he was absolutely furious after.
Like Big John Fury would have had the fucking t-shirt off. He'd have been like, "No man from his mother."
But McGrattan was kind
money.
McGrattan looked kind of pumped because he'd had a good fight. Like it was a sick fight. He was like, yeah,
he wasn't just speed bagging everybody.
Went to give Rosie like the tap after, and Rosie's like, "Don't touch me." And he just lost it on him. Like if you've been to Glasgow, you know it's literally the timekeeper's box between the two penalty boxes, right? You've got 6'6" Jay Roosevelt trying to get in the other penalty box because he's just like he's so angry.
If you're that guy in the middle, you're just like, I'm going to jump on the ice in moving play because it's safer right now. Just trying to jump on while the fucking guys are wheeling around.
He said, "I'm the only guy that will trade rights with you, and you act like that after." And
oh yes, me and you had this conversation about 5 years ago, I think, Sully.
But yeah, like you knew that his anger, if it was directed the right way, was unbelievable for your team. I mean, I think we went 6-0 against Fife that year, and no offense to anyone that played Fife that year, they were terrified of him, absolutely terrified of him.
I mean, for pretty good reason.
Yeah, we had a game against him. He was our net front guy on power play for obvious reasons. Nobody's going to try and move Jay Rosehill. The Fife D man decided to try and move Jay Rosehill.
Good luck.
Gave him a few cross checks in the back, as you do when you're a D man on a PK. And so Rosie stood in front of the net, and the ref's in the corner, and he kind of like looks at the ref, puts his arms up, and he's like, "You're not calling this?" And the ref's like, "No, it's net front bound." So Rosie does a big loop, goes all the way up to like the top of the circles, comes back, comes in behind their D man, and starts teeing off cross checks. And like the D man was cross checking him, but they weren't like hard cross checks,
like love taps.
Rosie is like bang, 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 and on like the fifth or sixth one, the guy goes down on one knee. Rosie doesn't see it. He's still coming forward and clocks him in the back of the head.
Ouchies.
He looks at the ref. The ref's got his arm up and spoke to Rosie after. He was like, "Well, yeah, I kind of figured they were going to throw me out, so I just carried on." He's just cross-checking him he's like down on the ice. And not like, what are you going to do? You gonna be the guy that comes and gets ragdolled by him?
That's one of them.
Jump in for your teammates, but like,
mate, that's one of them. I've had a couple of these situations in the past where, look, I fight most guys. Generally fought in my weight class. Sometimes fought above it. Tried not to fight below it. But there was sometimes where you were just there, and it's like, okay, like. But I fought Derek Campbell. I'd been in the box, had a fight with Craig Elliott. I smashed my hand to bits. I got back on the ice. We got 2+2. So 2+2 is not even long enough to catch your fucking breath. It's nonsense. Like, I've just been fucking throwing knucks for 90 seconds. 4 minutes ain't gonna get the job done. Stepped out, and Derek Campbell's chasing Pinky around, and I'm stood right there. Like, DC, you want to go? I was like, no ounce of my fucking body wanted any part of that, but I'm just like, You can't fight Craig Elliott and then not fight Derek Campbell. Like, you got to do it, and sometimes you got to jump in that situation. And actually, it's probably the fucking fight I'm probably most proud of, because he's quite right. He should have fucking murdered me, stone dead.
On obviously played with Gags when he was in Manchester.
There's a fight. By the way, the softest spoke human I think I've ever watched that pounded someone's fucking head into the ice like a marshmallow. When we did the thing up in Glasgow with Zooms, mate, and we went in, that's when Finner was running Manchester, and we had Fitzy running Glasgow. You
Nice
watching
guy.
there? We did me
The
and
whole thing
Bandy.
out for you.
Yeah, me and Bandy brung fucking Zooms up there. You're there. We got Finner. We got Fitzy. We got everybody. Even the young Scottish guys that were playing for the clan at the time coming out and just making a big deal out of it. But
Williams did our pre-match.
yeah, but it was Gags that got him. Gags was like, "Come," because we stood outside locker room trying not to impose. Gags is like, "No, you come in." You come in, Gags is fucking like first guy to fist pump him and drag him around the room and that. And then you watch him the week later, like absolutely fucking pulverize someone's cheekbones, and you're like, "Yep,
Well,
that's the same person, but just a very different version of that person."
He said to me about, it must have been 5 or 6 games into the season when I was playing with him, and he kind of pulled me aside in practice, and he was like, "Start more shit on the ice." I'm like,
Do what you want.
He's like, "You're on the ice with me. Like, punch people, cross-check them in the back, like trip them, slash them. They're not going to do anything. I'm on the ice with you." I'm like, "Okay." Like, what if they try and fight me? He's like,
They won't.
Okay. And then we had, when Gags got banned, we went to Sheffield. Gags got a penalty. Came out of the box, so we were kind of on like a 2-on-2 rush. So Gags like straight drives the net. I was like, I don't want the puck for a shot. Like, I'm driving the net. One of their skill guys, slew-foots Gags in the slot. Now,
that's a bad idea.
Slew-footing is a bad idea anyway. Slew-footing up
Gags
is even less advised. But Gags gets up, visibly upset. And when Gags is visibly upset, you know something bad is going to happen. So Gags grabs him, like immediate, gets up, immediate shed, grabs him, and starts like going after him. Their skill guy doesn't want anything to do with it, and I don't blame him for wanting nothing to do with it. If you square off with that guy, like, you were in trouble.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a bad day the next day.
Gags is like ragdolling him to the point where he has pushed their skill guy into their net, and the goalie has stood there watching it happen, and the goalie like takes like an exaggerated step to the side, moves over, and just goes,
"Nope."
Like, didn't even try to drag him off, like nothing. Obviously, Gags gets thrown out, and as we at the motor point, you have to go off the Zamboni doors around. So Gags has been taken like down the ice. He's still got his helmet on, and their bench is giving it to Gags, like screaming at him, like giving it to him. Gags like gets off the, like, shrugs the linesman off, takes his helmet off, launches it at their bench. He goes, "Who's next?" And the whole Sheffield bench just went. Like, we obviously, like in Sheffield, you can see that.
So Zach, when I asked you, do you miss enforcers?
I love playing.
I think yes would be the answer. The way you're telling these fucking stories, mate. The answer would be yes.
The reason I say no is I always seem to get crushed by them. I got hit knee on knee by Backer. I got crushed behind the net by Bordelot. I nearly.
I mean, the guy was 6'8". Like,
all you have to do is skate into it. I'm going for a dumping in Cardiff. I can hear the linesman saying offside, offside, offside. So I'm like, I got plenty of time. I get the puck behind the net, go to wheel the net, and I just see Bordelot on the post. I'm like, oh my God. Like, he came and he came and said, so, like, we both managed to like avoid the hit. He actually came and said sorry to me after it because of how shook up I was after. Then he crushed me.
He was a big man.
He crushed me in Glasgow, cut my eye open up here. Later that season, Brian McGrattan separated my shoulder. Like so, Jansen killed me about 6 times.
I think he killed. I think he killed everybody.
Yeah, every person. Yeah,
I love playing with him. I do not like playing against him because I am always on the receiving end of it.
What about then from just purely from the aspect of what an enforcer brought to the game and how it allowed the game to be played? It's obviously changing now. We're on this transition period of the out and out tough guys gone. We've gone more down the kind of Tom Wilson sort of route, and then to a lesser extent that kind of filters down throughout the levels. But there's something to be said about, you know, a fan base having a Mike Ware to cheer for, a John Craighead to cheer for, an Adam Keefe to cheer for, Paxton Shorty to cheer for, these anti-heroes who end up being the guys that do the school visits, who end up being the guys who are at the hospitals fucking saying shit, and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. They're the guys that are at hospital and doing these things. Do you
talk about you talk about the Cardiff game that you came down to watch.
Yeah.
So I'll answer your question with a question. How do you think those Cardiff players would have reacted if Mark Lewis grabbed someone and kicked the shit out?
Well, they would have fucking certainly started playing a bit better ice hockey.
So does that not
opinion, because I like I said, I thought they had nothing, mate. Like if Mark Lewis grabs Lyndon Springer in the first shift of the second period off the draw and says, "Bro, we gotta fucking go tonight. Like we're shit. We're fucking flat. Building's flat. The fucking fans are shit. Nothing's happening. Give me one here. I tell you what. Next time we're up in Manchester, you boys 2-1 down. I'll fucking give you one up there, but you need to give me one now because we need something."
Like guys always look at, like I think fans always look at it from a point of view where it's enforcers come in and self-police the game. Like I'm not gonna get drawn into talking about referees. Like referees make mistakes, they miss stuff, they're human as well, right? So if there's something that happens that isn't called, or even if it is called, you know, that's when a typical enforcer comes in and says, "This is what you get for doing that," right? But I think there's also the aspect of, like, we had it with Gags plenty of times. We were 5-0 down against Belfast at home in Manchester. Ginner had pulled himself because he'd hurt his hip. So we had Adam Long was in net. And no offense to Adam, but against the Belfast team, that's a worrying scenario. Adam actually played fantastic that game. We're 5-0 down. Gags comes out the box, scores a goal, fights Pellick as a celebration. Literally his goal celebration, he grabs Pellick and fights him. We lost that game 6-5 in the shootout. Without that fight, we don't carry on the comeback.
No.
Changes momentum.
Absolutely no way. Like we've not only scored, we've also just won a fight. Everyone is G'd up. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, yes, let's go." I think we scored 2 goals in the next 2 shifts, 5-3. And all of a sudden you're sat there going, okay, it was 5-0. Now it's 5-3. Like, what is going on right now as a Belfast point of view? And all of that is instigated from that fight. I mean, I'm a big advocate for it. Like, I've played my whole career with tough guys. I played with Adam and Joe Green. I played with you, Nicky. I played with Ryan. I played with Jeffy, who used to fight. I mean, you can go down the list really of guys who fought, weren't tough guys, but guys that would fight. Aaron Connolly and Basingstoke. I think you and him had a good fight. And
me and Aaron had a couple, and again, not known to be a tough guy, but a fucking team guy, and got what it took to be a fucking winner. And if that meant getting punched in the face, he was willing to do it. Even
Mean Joe. Although Mean Joe never had a fight in his career, he was still terrifying enough to stop people from doing stuff.
Let's see if Mark knows who that is. Mark, do you know who that is?
Joe Baird.
Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah, of course it is. That guy fucking shot people everywhere.
The most bone-legged, mean-looking motherfucker that you ever had the displeasure of meeting on a Thursday night at Planet Ice Basingstoke.
One look from Mean Joe, and you think you've been in a fight after.
Just from a look.
Yeah. I mean, the first team I went and played on in Glasgow, we had Lee Salters.
He was tough.
When he first came over, Chris Frank, Jeff Smith, we signed halfway through the year. And then you had guys through the lineup.
Chris Frank was a loose cannon that year. What was it like playing with that fucking maniac that year?
It was hilarious. He
would make DOPS in 2023 have a fucking stroke or a heart attack every Friday or Saturday night because he was a maniac.
He wasn't a loose cannon. Like
on the ice, he was.
Yeah, but he knew what he was doing. Every single time.
Yeah. It was calculated loose cannonism, if that's even such a phrase.
We played pre-season against Asiago, because I think the previous...
By the way, the worst uniforms.
Horrible fucking
worst
jerseys.
fucking uniforms in the history of ice hockey uniforms. Colour scheme. That was one of the fucking teams me and Mark went to watch last year. We were raging. We left after 2 periods. We were like, fuck this.
So I think the Clan's previous coach was in Asiago, so we played in pre-season. They ended up being Italian champions that year. So we lost the first night, and there's it was we had 4 D-men, one of them being me.
About
7 forwards because half our team hadn't arrived yet.
The guys are still fucking drinking Johnny Black on the flight over.
They've just scored an empty net goal. We've got 30 seconds left down by 2. Finner goes, Frankie, you're going on the wing this shift. And Frankie looks at Finner, he's like, really? Finner's like, yeah. And I turned to Frankie, I'm like, what? He's like, just watch. Goes out, opening draw, gets the puck on the blue line, like, good, like it's like a 2-on-1 or 3-on-2. Chips it, like high chip. You're talking like touching the rafters chip on the goalie.
The old up and under.
Frankie is getting to the goalie before the puck and just drills their goalie through the net. Like not even like, didn't even try and slow down. Like literally like high chip, boom. Like drills their goalie, ends up fighting their captain after. You could see him in the dressing room after. He was he was really annoyed, like really pissed off with himself. And he sees me walk in, he's like, that's what. and then like looks away. But like that's like we used to do that all the time. Like one of the games we started, we had Chris Frank and Fitzy on D, who never played. They were never D partners that year. Fitzy and Frankie on D, and we had Lee Salters, Matt Keith, and Stefan Meyer.
Tough opening lineup.
Yeah, Stefan Meyer and Keith are like they were very skillful when they came over here, but Mizey, when Mizey got pulled up for the Flames, he was pulled up as a 4th line grinder fighter. Keitha could throw. I mean, when you're 6'4",
Matt Keith was tough. Mate.
Yeah, like so that was our start. I think it was against Dundee, so we had some interesting games against them. They always tried to like rough it up against us, and then we roughed it up too much, and then they stopped trying to rough it up. But we were at a point where we were like, no, we've started now. We're not
too late now.
And it was the game where we nearly had a bench ball in warm up. Chris Frank got fined for it, and the fans ended up paying his fine. But so their tough guy was like stretching near the blue line, and Fitzy ripped a slap shot at his leg pads. Literally ripped a slap shot from the red line. Like literally had a puck, stopped on the red line, went bang, like kept it on the ice, but like ripped it off his leg pad. And their whole team is coming up to the blue line, and then like our whole team's coming up to the blue line, and basically all the tough guys on our team are like, yeah. What?
Mate, I remember when Sharpie did that. I wasn't there because obviously I joined Guildford late November, start of December, and I guess something had happened between Milton Keynes and Guildford, and between Zatopek and Sharpie. So this is 2013-2014 season. And you know where Guildford skate out is to the right-hand side of the home bench. And we skate out, and I'm behind Sharpie, and Zatopek's fucking stretching by the DJ box. He's in the referee's crease stretching, and fucking Sharpie skates out. He takes 3 strides and he leans into this fucking clapper. And I'm talking, he's like, boom! And it goes fucking head height at Zapotek. Zapotek ducks. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So go back into the room and Sharpie proceeds to tell me, he's like, Watty, I know you're down. He's like, anytime me and you are on the ice tonight, he's like, be ready. I'm like, bro, I'm always fucking ready. You know this. So this is how Sharpie ended up getting sacked from Guildford without getting sacked, because they took the bullshit way out. But we're in the 3rd period. Me and Sharpie get our first shift together. We line up for the draw, and he goes, "What, you ready?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready." I have no idea what he's about to do, but he's just telling me to be ready, so I'm ready. So takes the draw, goes behind me, puck goes into the corner. Sharpie just turns around and fucking runs the goalie into the back of the net. I'm like, oh, here we go. Now he's looking for Zatopek, right? So the gloves are off. And you know when everyone's like skating in, but no one's doing anything? Obviously, by this point, I've got my gloves off as well. So there's me and Sharpie stood in front of this goalie who's been fucking decked. And we're looking around. We're like, right, who's coming? Where's Zatopek? And this is obviously me. I've only been there for about 3 weeks at this point. They didn't know what's happened prior. Sharpie's just dummying people. Just like literally dummying people. He had obviously had the previous, didn't he? Because he had come off the bench in Bracknell and the puck was down the other end and he skated down, and it was when Tominets was just stood there and Sharpie ran him and he smashed his head off the goal and all sorts of shit. But anyway, so we go back. And do you know how Guildford dealt with that? It was the worst thing I've seen, actually, since being a pro. They didn't sack him because this was at the fucking 96.4 Eagle FM, where we were just the absolute cheesiest fucking club. We had like 3 guys that they wouldn't give any ice time to. They didn't sack him. They didn't do anything because it was bad press if you sack people. But they just stopped Sharpie coming to the rink, and it was just really fucking weird. And when you look at what goes wrong with Guildford on a yearly basis, even now to this extent, they've already had a speed wobble, 4 or 5 weeks into the season.
Yeah, you lose to the Manchester Storm at home.
But mate, when you've been inside that and nothing's actually changed since then, you can see where the little things would fall down with a club like that, where you go, you've got so much fucking talent. But sorry, say that again.
It has changed slightly, hasn't it? Hepburn Senior's still owner, but Hepburn Junior runs the day-to-day club.
Yeah, and but it's still, I can't imagine it being much different because the apple won't fall far from the tree, in my opinion.
No comment.
Oh no, I'm not asking you to comment. I'm just going from my opinion from being there. That's what I said. I fucking said to Digger the first week. First week I said to Digger, I was like, why the fuck is the owner a guy who is worth bank? Why is he stood here watching us practice at 2:30 on a fucking Wednesday afternoon in his 18-year-old pair of jeans and jacket that I reckon he probably painted the garage in? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it's a backwards world. And then, mate, no one has any idea what used to go on there. I can't believe this is the first time I'm going to tell it, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Right, so we would have Potsy was injured, Hemmer was injured, and they would be on the bench in headphones. And fucking Hepburn would be sending messages down to relay back to Digger, be like, get Christopherson's line off the ice. And this guy doesn't go back on. I was like, I'd never experienced anything like this at EPL before. So I was like, what is going on? Like, and it was so disjointed. And they arguably, I went there because I thought we were going to win a championship. But all their try-hard bullshit techniques that they did behind the scenes, that cost us a championship. We had a championship winning team there.
Yeah, we won the cup and the playoffs that year, didn't we?
Yeah, you boys were stacked. That was Bainstone, right?
Yeah.
And then
But that's what I mean. Like, we had the championship caliber team, but
I
yeah.
think you beat us for the league.
Pardon?
I think you beat the.
No, I didn't, mate. No, didn't get it. We finished second.
You definitely stopped us winning the league because you came to Basingstoke, and I was actually talking to Digger about this the other day when we played against them. He scored probably the best goal I've ever seen live.
Oh, we did as well, didn't
he? He picked the puck up on the blue line corner, spread the blue, like went across the blue line, faked a shot, and all you heard was his stick hit the ice, and then he slipped it back post, and everyone, like literally everyone on the ice is like, "Where's the puck?" And then Digger's off celebrating by himself, and we're like, "What's he doing? Like, why is Digger celebrating?" And then we turn around and the puck's in our net. And like, to put that into context, I think that the line that was on the ice was Doug Shepherd, Joe Rand, Joe Greener, Alex Simmons, can't remember the other D man, and Stevie Lyle in goal.
Pat Reynolds probably. Like,
it's not like it was a bad
Robert.
goal. Like he's walked the blue, faked a pass, faked a shot, and then just slipped it back across everyone. And everyone's like looking in the corner for the puck, and Digger's off celebrating.
How much fun was it to? I know personally because I was there, but how much fun was it playing at EPL in those days when it was like 5 imports and all? Just it had the good mix of like the off ice and being the boys and professional.
Phoenix took the title that year, by the way.
Yes, it was them.
Yeah, that's it. And then I think we ended up winning the cup. We had Skinsey that year. We ended up winning the cup and playoffs. Can't remember who would be in playoffs. But yeah, it was. I think that's kind of where. I think that's kind of where the development in this country stopped when EPL left. Because I know it was a lot of older guys playing, but you know, I know there are some EIHL analysis accounts out there that don't think I'm good enough to play in the Elite League, but I know I never would have been able to make the step up if that EPL wasn't there. And it's not just the level of hockey; it was the way of thinking. It was like the mindset.
Yeah.
Of, you know, if I hadn't played with that that team in Slough that I went to, again, Alex Simmons, Greg Rockman in goal, Adam and Joe Greener, Ryan Watt, Tom Carlon, Terry Miles, Aaron Connolly, Darius Paskauskas, Mindy Kiris, Adam Calder, Doug Shepherd, like that's an insane team. And they gave me the attitude of, you know, you do what you can for the team. You know, you're bought in to do a job. If you're bought in to be a defensive D-man, which I am bought in to do, don't try scoring 20 goals a year. Because that's not your job. And then that kind of, you know, the team comes first. And I remember having a meeting with Shep and Joe Greener halfway through the year. Joe Greener, as Nicky will probably be able to tell you, was basically my dad at the time.
Yep.
Adam Calder
Daddy Joe.
Adam Calder and Joe Greener basically took me under their wing.
By the way, what a part. How old are you at this point, Sully? 17, 18?
Yeah, 17 when I went to Slough.
Folks, do your research. I can't explain to you two better fucking human beings made for a 17-year-old coming into the game with Joe Greener and Adam Calder to take you under their wing.
Adam Calder used to
class.
So he used to drive down with Tom Carlon every Tuesday and Thursday and Friday from Coventry, because they both lived in Coventry. They used to car share down. And I think we ended up getting rid of Tom Carlon about November. And me being a 17-year-old, I had no idea what was going on. I know now what was going on, but at the time I had no idea. And Shep had said to Calds, like, look, you're driving down by yourself, like, come down Thursday, Friday. Like, don't bother coming down Tuesdays. And Calds turned around to Shep and said, no, I'm going to come down Tuesdays. And Shep was like, why? He was like, and this is his genuine response to Shep. Adam Calder, treble winner in the Elite League, one of the best players at the time that had ever come over, one of the most
every year.
successful goal scorers ever in this country. His response to Shep was, I play crossbar challenge with Sully after practice on Tuesdays.
Yeah, don't lose crossbar, yeah.
I'm 17 years old. I'm a rookie. It's my first kind of glimpse at professional hockey. And his response to a coach, I think he was 34, 35 when he was playing with us, was, no, I played crossbar challenge after practice with Sully. I'm going to keep coming down on Tuesdays.
Love that shit.
And I was like, oh. So we used to play for, if he won, I used to get him a Lucozade Sport. If I won, he used to get me orange Lucozade. And
What a fucking shocker. By the way, for anybody that knows Sully, I could have bet my entire fucking life wealth on what that drink was going to be.
I think he ended up, this is season long, and we used to do Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So 3 times.
Are you ready for a subtle brag here, Mark? Ready? Go on,
Go
Zach.
No,
Go on, Zach. Did you beat him?
He bought me a Lucozade twice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
He would stand there, we'd do it from...
That Lucozade cost him 35 quid in fuel, but fuck, he come down to play you, though.
We used to do it from the hash marks. And he would stand there. He'd let me go first. He'd always let me go first. If I hit the crossbar, my first shot, he would stand there, wind up a slap shot and wire it off, like as middle as you could off the crossbar. So he'd give me like that hope of like.
By the way, folks at home, hitting a fucking crossbar with a slap shot from the hash marks isn't as easy. Like a wrist shot, you're picking it up and throwing it essentially.
Yeah.
Slap shot, that shit can go anywhere. So to hit mid from there where you really want it to, it's a good shot.
But it was every time. Our crossbar challenge, I think the furthest it ever went was 4 rounds, and he hit 4 crossbars in a row. And I somehow managed to hit the crossbar 3 times to keep it going. And then I'd be like, yes, I hit it again. I'm going to win. And then ting. Hit it again. Ting. But no, he actually remember we went to he went through a bit of a goal drought that season.
What? Fucking two games.
No, it was like 4 or 5 games. And back then, like
as everyone else knows as their normal career.
Yeah.
For him, for Calds, that's called a drought.
Well, man, like it was being talked about on the forums. Like he was past it, and he like we needed to get rid of him, and like
Mate, he was so good good when I played against him.
Back then, I paid more attention to what was being said online than I do now. And my dad was telling me like what all the fans were saying on the forums and stuff. And we went to Telford, and he ripped it top shelf, as he always did. He always went top glove because it didn't matter who was in goal, his shot was better. And I like instinctively said to Adam Greener, who was my D partner at the time, I instinctively said something like, "Oh, about time," or something like that, before I'd even like thought to say something. And Greener looked at me and was like, "Don't say that." Do not say that. So we go, like, I'm now like bricking it, like I'm terrified because Calds was an out-and-out goal scorer. He was also as scary when he wanted to be. So we go into the period break. We're doing like we go back out for the 3rd period, and Calds comes over to me. He's like, "So I heard you've got something to say to me about my goal just then." And I'm still like 17. I'm like, yeah, it was a really nice shot. Like, well done. He was like, watch what you say, kid. And like I'm like, oh my god. And then I see him like skate off, and he looks at Greener, like just grinning at Greener. I'm like, but no, I mean like that. I was like, I've always said to you, like I've been incredibly lucky with who I played with, and you know, all the way through, even when I was in Invicta, like the way they let me go that year to go to Slough, and than the guys in Slough. Like I think I came in 3 or 4 games into the season, and I was immediately like everyone's child.
Yeah.
I was looked after by everyone, and then Mark Galazzi was there as well.
It's kind of similar when we finally like hooked up and played together in Basingstoke. I think it was 2011, 2012. Obviously, I'd had you at conference prior to that, but even then that year, I kind of felt like we had a good bunch of guys around us. We had like Gumsy in there, we had Chubbs, with Greg Owen, Joe Miller before he went off for the fucking money, cunt. So he went off to Red Hockey Media for $750 a week year round. I mean, why did he ever leave one rib away to go to get $750 a week year round? But we had like good groups, and even then, like you go back to like good guys.
I was saying to Mark,
important.
It was like I think that kind of
Scooter as well. Scooter
folded, when the EPL folded, it kind of, like I said to Mark, like despite some people's, some EIHL analysis sites thinking I'm not good enough, it's without the it wasn't necessarily the level of the EPL that helped so many people, helped so many players progress through. It was the attitude of world hockey. It was the attitude of it doesn't matter what you bring as long as what you bring helps the team. If you're signed to be a fighter, fight. If you're signed to be a defensive D-man, be a defensive D-man. If you're signed to score goals, score goals. If you're not doing what you're signed to do, then do something else that benefits your team. If you're a goal scorer and you haven't scored a goal for a while, grab someone, fight them. Make a big hit. Like set up your line mate for something else. And it was that attitude of like the team comes before everything else. And it's also that, I'm kind of paying for it now with injuries over the last few years of, if you're not broken, you can play.
Yeah.
And it was
that was the EPL mentality, Sully. I
think. I don't think that without the EPL, and like again, not the level, but the guys I played with and the mentality that we had towards the game, I don't think I would have ended up going to Glasgow, and I don't think I would have stuck it out because I would have.
It was a fucking tough league, right? And I don't mean in terms of just meatheads that could pound your head in, because there's fucking plenty of them. But
you had some high level experience from guys coming over from North America and Europe. It really got underlooked.
And we went to war when we were hurt. Like, I remember the amount of injuries where, just like shoot, I'll use this one. The first time I broke my hand was my first break. It was fighting Bomber, Andres Kaminskas away, Swindon Bracknell. And I did the thing, and I kept the cast on for 4 weeks, and I was a good boy. Remember the second time I broke my hand, I was like, I have a game tomorrow, fuck that. Cut the cast off that night, back in the lineup the next day. They fucking cut holes in gloves, fucking cut the fingers out, and we'd take my shit together, and yeah, we're good. But I knew the guy next to me next week, he blew his knee out, he was playing. Like, we were all fucking in, like, and it was always like that hillbilly tough, you know what I mean? If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. And it was like, but the other fucking 20 guys were on the same boat. So you knew that you were willing to play hurt, or you were willing to play sore, or you were willing to block a shot that you probably shouldn't be blocking because you're already injured. But you do it anyway. And it just gained you respect. It gained you respect across the team, across the league. And then obviously in the EPL, we had the M4, M3 corridor, crisscross, fucking everyone switches teams. You'll get to be pretty good friends. There was just great stories to be had, good nights out to be had. And I
almost had that, like, even though you were friends, you would go to war with each other on the ice.
Yeah. That was the rules, right?
I know you would never have tried to fight me or anything like that, but if you had the opportunity to hit me in a corner, you'd damn well make sure you hit me in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't get off scot-free, but
yeah, and then I text you about it as soon as I got off. But
and that's kind of the same that I had with when Peaks was in Fife a couple of years ago, we were messing around in warm up, passing pucks backwards and forwards over the red line.
Tommy Sticks.
I heard
Oh, Tommy Sticks.
Yeah, I heard Finner in my ear. He was like, "Hey, no friends out there, Sully," and it just like kind of like, made me jump. And I looked around, and he had like his like fake serious face on, and I kind of like looked at him, like kind of like smiled and looked back, and then I kind of like leaned over to Peace, like, I've just been told off. I've got to go away.
It's got PP wet.
Like, but then that game, like he crushed me in the corner. I crushed him back in the other corner. And it's like afterwards, it's like, hey, we'll play tonight, man. It's like that's how it works. Like but yeah, I mean, like I also think like kids, like the younger kids now coming back over, like straight from wherever it is, if it's Europe.
Oh, what the fucking ACOC, UC, ACIC, Andy Hanna's favorite league.
Yeah, and then they're coming straight back into elite league teams. I don't think they're.
You're right there, Mark. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Hey, mate, honestly, that's what we used to say because Hans would come in and slough. And it'd be like me, Chadwick, Terry Miles, Brucey, fucking Paddy Ward. Shout out Paddy Ward coming on this podcast. By the way, folks, when we have Paddy on, I'm going to show you his foot. He's just been run over by a fucking truck at work. Mark, what's it? Look at Mark's face right now.
Yes. Yeah.
We think you see some fucking hockey injuries. Wait until you see what happens if you get run over by a fucking truck. Did you ever cross paths with Paddy, Sully?
Was he from Newcastle?
No, he's from Fife, but obviously played down a Slough when it was myself, Chad.
Was he in Bracknell when I went to Slough?
Maybe he'd already moved back. Maybe he'd moved to Australia. He's been in Australia for like 9 years. He's like the Celtic version of fucking Joe Greeno. He's got like 6 kids down there in fucking Oz.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, just a beauty of a guy. We got him coming on, but it was like all these kind of guys that allowed you to cut your teeth and get better and play at such a level. Sully, before we let you go here, I'm just gonna fast forward back to this year. 2 quick questions. First of all, myself and Mark are always talking about how we progress UK hockey and about the young talent. You have a young man on a 2-way there by the name of Connor Lee. He's there with the Tigers and the Storm. Talk to me about this kid.
Well, I said that Adam Calder was my dad.
Oh, are you fucking dad now? Jesus.
I'm dad now. So
we going full circle.
Full circle. No, he's a good kid. He's sit next to him in the room, and me and Ula wind him up every morning.
Good. That's how it should be.
What did we have the other day? We were quizzing him on something the other day. 6 of us upstairs stretching and seeing our physio, and we were just 6 of us giving it to him.
All of you, yeah.
Bless him. But no, he's good, man. He's
skillful, by the way.
He's got everything. Like, he's fast. He's got a good shot. He can. Yeah, he's dangled me a couple of times in practice. No, he's fantastic little hockey player, and like you genuinely like
rooting for him
out there, like. Well, yeah, like of course you're rooting for him, but like when he's on the ice, like practicing with us every day, like you genuinely forget he's 16. Like, he doesn't look like a 16-year-old. He doesn't act like a 16-year-old. He's so mature for his age. Like,
would I be premature then, or would I be on the right track to pump this kid up to say that maybe we should see him go down the European, North American route, get the fuck out of Dodge, and try his hardest to maybe get noticed by the major junior draft, or later still the NHL draft? Obviously, Kirky's been the last guy, so he's kind of paved a little bit of a pathway for some of these younger kids. But unless these younger kids are willing to do it, then we're never going to know if we're going to be able to continue that conveyor belt, or if it's a one and done with Kirky and stop.
Yeah, I mean, he's like even what the guys coming over this year, even like Joe Morris said. Like, I've talked to Joe about it, and like everyone's of the same opinion that he has everything. He's an incredible player, and the fact that he's 16 is insane. There are moments when you see he's 16. We stopped at a service station on the way back from an away game from Guildford, and we were all waiting for our food, and he sat there spinning on a twirly chair, having a.
Hey, there's fuck all wrong with that. I'm 37. I'll be doing the same thing. So,
but you know, me and Chase Harrison looked at him and we were like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Hey man, I'm 16. I'm allowed to do this." And we're like, "Yeah,
yeah, you are." Yeah.
But no, like he's like I said, when I went to Slough, I was kind of adopted as everyone's child, and he's kind of adopted as everyone's child. He's, you know, he still goes to school every day, which is the funniest thing for some of the imports. But no, he's like, you can see from how much I'm smiling, like he's a great kid, and genuinely hope he makes the right steps in his career. And I think as far as getting noticed for Europe and any kind of major junior, or like, I don't know how the drafts work in the States, but as far as getting noticed for any of those drafts, like as a British kid, if you're not playing pro early, you're not going to get noticed. And I think that's kind of part of the plan. You know, I think Finn has proved over the years that he's been in charge of Manchester, or been running Manchester, that he is willing to develop young Brits, and he won't stand in their way to develop. I mean, you know, Joe Hazeldine is in the Erste Liga this year.
Yeah.
You know, that's a player that has proved over the last few years that he's good enough to play in the Elite League. So yeah, I mean, Finn is obviously not going to stand in the way of player development, and I think we all know that we've got a special talent, and you know, you can tell, like, you know, even after the weekend we just had, which was, you know, from playing, like you lose games that you think you should win, or you lose games where you play poorly in, and you come out of a weekend where, in all honesty, like, let's be honest, we were looking for 6 points, and we come away with
one. It's not going to get the job done.
That next practice is miserable.
Yeah.
And guys are still
whole
staying.
Fucking week's miserable, mate.
Yeah. And guys are staying on the ice half an hour, 45 minutes after practice, working with Connor on stuff.
That's
so like
great. That's great news. I'd love to hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, like, I'm thrilled to see, like, guys are fully bought into making him better. Uli's told him multiple times he's not going to teach him to fight because he doesn't need to know how to fight.
Yeah, don't do that, kid. It used to look cool when we were growing up, but now there's like literally, if you're 16, there should be no desire to fucking drop your gloves ever. When I was growing up, I'd wake up in the morning, I'd have a shit, I'd go on dropyourgloves.com, and I would sit there for a fucking hour before I did anything and just scroll. Right, NHL fights, who fought in the NHL tonight? Watch all the videos. AHL, East Coast, NNAH, fucking. I'm watching fights from out of Mongolia just to see guys fucking beating the brakes off of each other before I'd actually done anything. Nowadays, yeah, it's gone and I'm sad. But for these young kids, like you say, keep your fucking gloves on. If you can score. Don't break your hands.
You know, it's obviously he's made the 20s team this year. I think they go away. They go away on.
Well,
Tuesday.
they go up to Dumfries.
Yeah, I think they go on Tuesday. So obviously, I hope he gets the ice time and gets the chance to prove himself there, because, you know, I know there's some really, really good young British players, but sorry to everyone else, but I'm going to pump his tires as much as I can, any opportunity, because it's not just his ability, it's his attitude, and his maturity at 16 is refreshing, to be honest. You know, there's some we don't have any this year, but usually you have a couple of guys every year that are kind of immature and childish and petty. And
are you not still on the roster now?
Hey man, I've grown up.
Yeah,
I'm a dad now.
Says the guy that drinks 47 fucking orange Lucozade Sports a week.
I got low blood sugar. Leave me alone. And I'm a dad now. I've grown up.
Right. Mark's got one more.
Speaking of British talent, we've been going on about someone on your roster, Connor Lee. I wanted to ask, in the Elite League in general, in the teams that you've faced, is there a particular young Brit that's caught your eye?
Great question, actually. Sully, we'll make this the last one, so make it a good answer.
Trying to think. Usually I'm just trying not to lose my breath on the ice rather than paying attention. There's a couple guys. I think kind of the answer everyone's expecting me to say is kind of like Josh Waller and
Well, yeah, obviously.
that kind of stuff. But for me, like especially the games that we've played this season, I know he's not particularly young, but Sean Norris in Belfast.
Yeah, he's good.
Nice.
He's good.
Yeah, when he was great for them when they beat us. I think they beat us 5-1 in Manchester. He was great for them then, and when we turned it around and beat them the next game, you always noticed him. You always noticed him doing something good on the ice. He was always in the right spot, or always in like the puck would bounce over it, like especially when we beat him, the puck would bounce over his stick, but he's in that place where like he's got a good chance to score and stuff like that. So yeah, like definitely Sean Norris, and then one that might surprise people or might not is I think it's Jonathan McBean.
John McBain, kid from Dundee.
Dundee.
He scored in Michigan last year, so anyone that's following National League knows this little fucker's got a bag of tricks up his sleeve.
It was kind of a moment of shock that made me kind of start watching him when we were in Dundee. Anyone that knows me is like when I'm on the ice and I'm playing, I concentrate. When I'm on the bench, I do not. I just space out. So yeah, I just kind of watch guys and watch them skate around.
ADHD vibes, Sully.
Yeah, probably my autism, to be honest.
Probably Shep's autism.
Yeah, it was a 3-on-2 that. So me and Harry had a 3-on-2 against my D partner Chase Harrison had a 3-on-2 like halfway through the second period, and it was a nothing kind of play, but it was just a burst of speed. So this guy just burst past me with a burst of speed, and I was like, "Who is that?" Like expecting it to be like one of their top imports. And I just saw McBean across the back. I was like, oh my God, like, he's fast. And then he made, like, obviously Harry's a great defensive D-man too. So he made what would have been a really nice play, but Harry got a stick on it. And it just kind of made me start watching him. And I noticed him a couple of times last year. He's playing with that, like, young invulnerability. He's invincible out there. And he's kind of making plays. He's playing his hockey, and that's really refreshing.
You can do that when Jay Rose Hill's not on the other fucking team.
Yeah, but it's also refreshing that the coach up there is allowing him to do that too.
Oh, absolutely.
There's plenty of young Brits that have come up and been plenty skillful and plenty able, and they've been asked to do a role that doesn't suit their skill set.
Yeah, you're right.
And I kind of ended up watching him when he was on the ice. I noticed him on the ice for like the second and third period. The rest of the second and third period, and he just does everything well. There's nothing he really does that isn't a nice play. And actually, there's one other guy, and this goes all the way back to preseason because he didn't play against us much when we went and beat them in overtime. Sam Talbot.
Yeah, he's
what
good.
a player. Nice. Yeah,
he's so smooth. By the way,
what a player. He scored his first goal when I was on the ice, so thanks for that, Sam.
You scored a goal this year. I mean,
yeah.
He scored the empty net. Huh?
All it needed was the other team to take their fucking goalie off, and then Sully got the goal.
Yeah, you not see my tweet? You see me?
I saw you fucking measuring it. I woke up in the morning and I was like, "Morning shit, coffee. Here's my boy Sully with a tape measure out." He's out measuring how far away his goal came from.
It wasn't 200 foot, so I got the tape measure out.
By the way, it was a long goal.
Yeah,
but if you watch the replay, all three Nottingham players on that side of the ice go to the boards.
Oh.
So I'm like, all right, then I'll shoot it down the middle.
Free shot,
boys. We're gonna have to wrap it because A, this one's home, and B, it's going to go over 2 hours on Canva. And when I'm I've done this the last few times. And once it goes over 2 hours, it won't let me download it. And then I have to decide which story to take out. And my ADHD is not qualified to tell me which story to take out because I think all of them are good. And I'm like, should I take this one out? And I'm like, no. Take this one out? No. And then I'll go to Sophie. I'll be editing it for like an hour and a half. I go, I've got 47 seconds out. She's like, how long do you need? I'm like, 5.5 minutes. It's like it just kills me. So let's kill it now. I think Mark's fucking got a turtle head anyway. So
that's for the last hour.
he wants to get out of here. Sully, I love you, my brother. Best of luck for
Good
the
luck
rest
that
of this
one.
season. We've had a lot
Good
of
luck.
fun here. Ladies and gents, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got Brody tells you to as well. We've got lots of good stuff going on. We've got road tripping, myself and Mark in Vienna, Bruno, Bratislava. Got my Lone Ranger trip to Berlin, and loads of stuff coming up. Paddy Ward, AJ Galante, episode 300, folks. 300 episodes of 4,000 Counting. It's all going on this next week here. Zach, it's been awesome. Thank you for your time, as always.
Yeah, thank you.
Get like Soccer AM football for coming on 600.
I think maybe you need like the drug tester jacket that they do. You know, like if it was at 47 episodes and you get your own jacket. I think you must be like 3/4 of the way there.
Well, I mean, I interviewed you once, which was
You did. By the way, right, ladies and gents, we're gonna go. Bye. I'm gonna go talk to Zach about something right now, and you're gonna wish you wanted to know what that is. Bye.